Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is George and I review watches. In this video we are diving deep into the San Martin SN0116-G GMT. This is one of their latest GMT models equipped with the Seiko NH34 movement, all wrapped up in a nice little package. Let's see if it's worth the hype. Starting with the unboxing, the San Martin arrives in a compact green faux leather travel box. This is more than just packaging, it's actually a well-made functional travel case. If you're someone who often takes your watches with you while traveling, this case is the perfect companion. The interior is well padded, ensuring that your watch remains protected during transit. It's these little touches that make the experience of owning a San Martin feel a bit more special compared to your average AliExpress watch, and it sets the tone for what's inside. When you first lay eyes on the watch, it's clear that San Martin has put considerable effort into making this watch look and feel premium. The black and brown bezel on my version, which is often referred to as the Rootbeer colorway, is, as I would describe it, discreetly striking. It contrasts beautifully with the matte black dial, creating a vintage yet modern aesthetic. There's also a Pepsi version with a blue and red bezel insert, which is admittedly flashier, but I opted for the more muted colorway, and by the way, the Rootbeer color combo is my favorite. There's also a distressed version, which was the one that originally caught my eye, and I have to admit it looks very promising. It has an even bolder vintage and tropic feel to it, and I think it's very well executed. However, when I was adding the watch to my basket, I got cold feet and bought this safer, if you will, dial variant instead because it pairs with more outfits. But if you're braver than I am and are drawn to the vintage aesthetics, I would highly encourage you to consider the distressed option as it's way more unique. Both versions, the distressed and non-distressed one, come in two variants, the Rootbeer one with the black and brown bezel and the Pepsi one with the blue and red bezel. San Martin has really dialed in the proportions here. At 39.5mm in diameter, the watch feels perfectly balanced on the wrist, not too large and not too small, just right. The colorway is versatile, making it a great option whether you're dressing up or down. As for the pricing, it's currently listed at $316. It may seem a bit steep for a watch powered by the Seiko NH34 movement, but as you know, San Martin is a premium AliExpress brand, so they charge a bit extra for the level of finishing and quality that you get. That being said, the watch isn't perfect. There's a couple of areas that are lagging behind and I will cover in depth in the review, so keep watching. On to the dimensions. As I measured it, the San Martin measures 39.5mm in diameter with a lag-to-lag distance of 46.5mm. It's 12.5mm thick, which is relatively slim, especially for a GMT watch, and it wears comfortably on a variety of wrist sizes. The 20mm lag width is standard, allowing for easy strap changes if you're someone who likes to customize the look of your watches. The watch weighs in at about 134 grams, giving it a solid, substantial feel on the wrist without being overly heavy. The dial of the SN0116-G is where San Martin really showcases their design chops. The matte black dial is paired with a white outer ring featuring minute markers, creating a clean and readable face with a nice contrast as the black dial pops thanks to the white outer ring. The applied hour markers are polished on the sides with a gilded finish, giving them a subtle shine and adds to the overall vintage aesthetic of the watch. The hour markers are generously filled with lume, ensuring visibility in low light conditions. The hands are simple yet effective. The hour and minute hands are filled with lume, while the GMT hand has a red tip, which adds a nice pop of color and matches the brown accents on the bezel. The second hand, however, lacks lume, which might be a slight drawback for some, but the red tip still helps it stand out. The date window is at the 6 o'clock position, which is a smart design choice that maintains the symmetry of the dial. Personally, I always prefer date windows at 6 o'clock because I'm a huge proponent of symmetry in design. Also, you'd be happy to see that the date wheel is color matched to the dial, which is a nice touch that not all brands at this price point or even at a lot higher one bother with. Now let's talk about the case. The 39.5mm stainless steel case is superbly finished, with brushed surfaces on the top and sides and polished chamfered edges that add a bit of visual interest. The case has a slim profile, which is particularly impressive for a GMT watch, and this makes it comfortable for daily wear even under a shirt cuff. The double-domed sapphire crystal adds another vintage design hue. The bezel is a 24-click bidirectional aluminum insert, again faithful to the vintage watch aesthetics. It feels solid and has no play whatsoever, which is great to see. It really bothers me when GMT or diver bezels are loose and have a lot of play. They make the watch feel cheaper. The Rootbeer bezel, with its black and brown color scheme, is both distinctive and versatile. The gilded 24-hour markers on the bezel are crisply printed, and the overall bezel action is smooth and satisfying. The lugs are straight, which usually is something I don't like as they expand the lug-to-lug length, but in this case, due to the small diameter and the slight curvature, the watch wears rather well. And let's not forget, straight lugs are a key characteristic of watches from the 60s and 70s. The lugs are also drilled, making it easy to swap out the bracelet or strap, a feature that's always appreciated by enthusiasts. The screw-down caseback is solid and unmarked, which keeps the focus off the watch's front and sides. The screw-down crown at 3 o'clock is engraved with San Martin's hexagon logo and helps achieve the watch's claimed 100-meter water resistance rating. Powering the SN0116-G is the Seiko NH34 GMT movement. This automatic movement is a reliable workhorse, featuring 24 jewels and operating at 21,600 vibrations per hour or 3 Hz. It has a power reserve of about 41 hours, which is standard for movements in this range. The NH34 is known for its durability, and its projected accuracy is within -20 to +40 seconds per day. While it's not a high-beat movement or a super accurate movement, it's dependable and well suited to a GMT watch, especially at this price point. The GMT function, while being a color GMT rather than a flyer GMT, is still highly useful for tracking an additional time zone, particularly for those who travel frequently or just want to keep track of a second time zone in general. The SN0116-G comes fitted with a Beads of Rice bracelet, which stays true to its vintage design inspiration, and it matches the overall aesthetic really well. However, the bracelet is an area that could use some more love. The center links are polished while the outer links are brushed with polished sides. This contrast adds depth to the bracelet's appearance, making it look more premium than it is. However, as mentioned, there are a few drawbacks. The bracelet is hollow, which does detract from the overall feel, and the inner edges can be a bit sharp. I can definitely feel them digging in my arm when I wear it in certain positions, and especially when I put it on or take it off, the sides are scraping my skin. They could definitely use some sanding down. San Martin has cut some corners here, and to be honest, for its over $300 price tag, I expected better. Having said that, the bracelet kinda makes up for it with the inclusion of a quick adjust clasp that allows for on-the-fly sizing adjustments without the need for tools. As you can see, there's a small button you can press and you can resize the bracelet. This feature is particularly useful in warmer weather when your wrist might expand slightly throughout the day. As mentioned earlier, the dimensions I think are one of the watch's strongest points. At just under 40mm in diameter, 12.5mm thickness and a 20mm lug width, the wearing experience is excellent. It will fit any wrist from 5.5 inches all the way up to 8 inches without any issue. It's slim and compact, and despite the straight lugs, it wears smaller, which is great news for people with smaller wrists like mine. Here's some wrist shots on my 6.75 inch or 17cm wrist. When it comes to lume, the San Martin is a bit of a mixed bag. The watch uses Super Luminova, which is applied to the hands and hour markers. While the lume is effective, it's not the brightest or longest lasting compared to the other watches in this price bracket, or even watches a lot cheaper. I have watches from Addis Dive for 1/3 of the price and they have better lume. So if you're someone who appreciates a good lume application and you find yourself quite often in situations where you need visibility in low light environments, then the San Martin is not the best choice. It's sufficient for quick glances in low light, but don't expect it to hold up for more than a couple of hours, let alone the whole night. Wrapping things up, the San Martin SN0116-G is an impressive piece, particularly for those, like myself, who appreciate vintage-inspired designs with modern functionality. Its dimensions are well considered, making it a versatile option for a variety of wrist sizes. While the NH34 movement is fairly standard, the overall execution of the watch, from the case finishing to the thoughtful dial design, makes it feel more than the sum of its parts. Yes, there are a few minor shortcomings, such as the lume and the sharp edges on the bracelet, but these are far outweighed by the watch's strengths. At $316, you're getting a lot of watch for your money, especially if you're someone who values both form and function. If you're in the market for a vintage-looking GMT watch that won't break the bank but still offers a touch of luxury, the San Martin is definitely worth considering. However, I would most likely wait for a sale, or if you have enough coupons, you should grab it at a lower price. I think a fair price for this piece is around the $250 mark. $300 is pushing it a bit. Alright, that's it for this review. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe for more watch reviews. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.